Peace to all. I'm back for another episode on what is in the books of God, and specifically the Quran, who I am a clear deliverer of today, as were the messengers before me, starting with Muhammad specifically for the Quran, and before that our brothers Jesus, Moses, and before that our father Abraham and all the other messengers. The book itself is called Quran, but it is a repetition, confirmation, regurgitation, copy of the Torah and the so-called Bible, which is actually the Injil. So today what I want to go over is the beginning of chapter 2 and what it says, how it starts after the first chapter, which is the shore opening. So the first chapter is basically statement of intent. So if you look at chapter 1, it's basically, it's stating, glorifying God, the praise to God. He is the king of the day of the way, when the way will be set up to the garden and the hellfire, and we serve him, we ask him, and we ask him to guide us to the constant highway, and the highway of those that he favored over, and not anger over them and not be astray. So this is the intent, showing of intent by anyone who wants to be guided, and it is the statement of the Holy Spirit here, as I have stated several times, many times over and over, which nobody understands, that it is the actual statement of the Holy Spirit Gabriel, who is the messenger who is delivering the Quran, and he is the messenger that makes the messenger from mankind, from Muhammad, and after that and before that as well, it is Gabriel who guides the messengers, who is actually in control of the messengers and the prophets who deliver the word of God, the book of God. So chapter 2 is called the cow, and the instinctive reaction is cow. Why cow? I mean, that's like kind of a funny name. Yeah, cow, heifer, the cow family. You can call it any type of cow. My response to that is that imagine if the cow was not on the earth for us to take advantage of. How would life be without that? And that should answer the question. It is an extremely important animal that God has created for us and put on the earth for us to benefit. So it's just, and also the cow was what was asked to be sacrificed by the sons of Israel when Moses told them, and they mocked him and stuff like that. So that's part of the story in the chapter about what happened when Moses asked them to sacrifice the cow in commemoration of what Abraham almost did. Yeah, then the whole Hajj and the pilgrimage for the so-called Muslims, which they do in Mecca, and it's actually supposed to be in Jerusalem. And these so-called Jews and Christians who used to do all the sacrifices and present the sacrifice at the old house, which is the Temple Mount, Wailing Wall, and where the Aqsa Mosque stands, they used to present sacrifices there. You can go look it up in their history, and of course in the books it is written, the Torah and the Bible, and they now refuse to do that, or they stop those who want to do that because it's too vicious, or it's not clean. Yeah, we can't do that over there. Yeah, soon this will all come to a head. Yeah. So what I want to go through today is how the chapter 2 starts, and what is it saying to all of us, and to the messenger, who I happen to be today, but it is the same to any messenger after Muhammad, including Muhammad, and after me, and even when Jesus comes, the story is going to be the same, the message is the same, he holds the same message, there's no difference. So let's start with name of God, the Almighty, the Merciful. Alif, Lam, Mim. So these are just 3 letters of the Arabic alphabet. Why they're there is, you can go into it. I know some of the reasons, but it's not important. I mean, it is not something that's going to take away from your faith. So starts with that, the book, no doubt in it, guidance to the pious. So for those who hold this book in any regard, And for those who believe it merits attention, or are in doubt about it, or are thinking maybe, maybe not, if you start reading this book with doubt, then you're going to be in doubt the rest of your life. If you want to create doubts from what is written in the book, it's very easy, because many things are counterintuitive to our souls, how our souls are created. Our souls are created with doubt in it, with wickedness and jealousy, envy, and all sorts of other stuff that is ingrained in our souls and hearts. And also the piousness is there as well, and the righteousness, and the truth, and surety. But it comes from what your intent is. If your intent is to destroy the book of God, you will find many things in here which will easily destroy any kind of faith that you have that God exists and this book is from God, and it will push you away from God. Actually, even if you have understanding of God in your heart or belief, if you are in doubt after that, or you create partners with God, or you make equals with God, or you think you know something other than what God has written in this book, and that you don't need a book to guide you, then it will be very easy. So that's why it starts with that the book, no doubt in it. There is no doubt in this book, and it is the guidance to the pious. They will be explained. The pious are explained. I'll do probably an episode later on who are the pious, and the pious are defined here as well, as we read upon the next few lines. Yeah. So it is guidance to the pious, no doubt in it. So any doubt that is created by the words of this book in your souls or your hearts or your minds, it is from within you. The book has no doubt in it. So, get with that if you want to know how this whole book unravels. And that's where I started. When I gave up my own thoughts and my knowledge that I had accumulated over 30 years of my life, I just hit an internal erase button, and I said, I know nothing except what this book makes clear to me. And since then, it's been a turning that continues till I die. And there are going to be doubts. I mean, I have doubts about things, but they are not that I doubt this book. They are doubt about how things are going to happen. I don't know how my life is going to pan out, what difficulties I will have. I will have them. Everybody will have them. So who are those people? The guidance of the pious. Those, they believe with the unseen, and they make constant the prayer. And from what we sustain them, they spend. So the Holy Spirit is telling us this. We are God, the Spirit, and the angels. They sustain us. You have to understand this whole heaven and the earth, so the so-called universe, which is not really mentioned anywhere in the Quran. It's the heavens and the earths, the 7 heavens above us, and the earth we live on, and the other earths that we cannot see, which are beyond the first heaven. They sustain all of this, and they sustain us from there. So who are the ones that believe with the unseen, and what is the unseen? So, let's look at the unseen. I mean, it's a subjective thing, right? There are many things that are unseen. There's God, there's the angels, the Spirit, the messengers that you cannot see, the demons, the Satans. So here, obviously, I don't believe with the Satans or with the demons. I believe they exist, absolutely, but I believe with God, and I believe with His angels, and with His books, all of them, not just this one. And I believe with His messengers, all of them, not just the one who brought this or just me. It's all of us. We cannot be separated. Between ourselves, there's no separation, and between us and God, there is no separation. We are completely under the control and command of God, and we do not separate from Him. And we make constant the prayer. I mean, people say stand the prayer. No, it is make constant. You need to make the constant of your prayer so that you're connected all the time with God. The prayer is a connection to God. So once it becomes constant, your connection with God becomes constant. And we spend from what we are sustained. And those, they believe with what's sent down to you and what's sent down from before you. And with the hereafter they assure it. So it's telling me now that those that believe with what's sent down, who are those? The pious that they believe with what's sent down to me. So the first one was Muhammad, and everyone after him the same thing. So if they believe with Muhammad or anyone after him this book has been bestowed upon, as it is upon me today, and everybody in the Muslim world will laugh because they think they know something about the book, and there's very little, if anything, they know about this book. So those that believe with what's sent down to you is one guy here, to you, and what's sent down from before you. So it's not just, you can't just say I believe with this and that's it. No, what's sent down from before me, I and Muhammad are the same book holder. So what's come before him? The Injil, which is the Bible, the Torah, and all other books, the Psalms and the book of Abraham, and all other books that exist. But fundamentally, it is the Torah and the Bible, this so-called Bible, which is the Injil. They are the two main ones, and the Psalms as well. So these four books you have to hold on with and connect them all the time together. They have to be kept together. No matter how misrepresented and adulterated the Torah and the Injil are today, the Bible, you must keep them together with the Quran, and that will bring the truth out without any problem. Yeah, but the problem is you separate the books of God. And with the hereafter, we are assured. All these, the pious, those who believe, they are going to be assured of the hereafter. The hereafter is the real life. This is just a trial, the life of the world. Those over guidance from their Lord, and they the successful. So now understand, the success of this world has nothing to do with this success. I can be a complete failure in the eyes of mankind, which I probably am, but the actual success is the hereafter, and there's nothing about wealth here. Yeah, we spend from what we are sustained, and they sustain us. You don't sustain me, I don't sustain you. God sustains us, and we can help each other with that sustenance. I can use what God brings me to sustain others, but that's my choice, and it's God who's sustaining them because He lets me. It's a little kind of a secondary sustenance, but He tells us to help others on the earth, to sustain them if they're in need, if they need food, water, the orphans, the widows, etc., etc. These guys are over guidance from their Lord, and they the successful. They are the successful, the prosperous, so to say. Surely those who reject, equal over them, you warn them or not you warn them, not they believe. So this is basically to the messenger, he's being told that those who reject, it doesn't matter whether you warn them or you don't warn them, they will not believe. So who are the people who reject? Who reject God fundamentally, who reject His angels, who reject His books, who reject His messengers, who make equals with God, who separate between the messengers of God, making one the only one to be followed. It's not like making one above the other, because the messengers are higher one over the other. Abraham is the highest of the prophets, messengers of God from mankind. He is the one. You can't put Jesus above Abraham. You can't put Moses above him. You can't put Muhammad above him. You can't put me above him. We are all under him. And Moses is the leader of Jesus. Jesus follows Moses. He didn't differ from the command that Moses brought, which is the Torah. And so on with Muhammad. He does not. He's not the leader of Jesus. Jesus is his leader because he follows Jesus and what Jesus brought, which is the Torah and the Injil. So, these are the ones who reject. So, when you reject God, His angels, His Spirit, the hereafter, this is the rejection. We reject you. When you reject all of this, us the believers, we will reject you. So we are also rejectors, but you have to understand, what are we rejecting and what are you rejecting? What are you believing and what are we believing? So belief is like, I don't know how to say it, but it's fundamentally a generic term, faith. Yeah, you can believe in anything you want. Oh, you can believe whatever you want. Sure you can. Go ahead, keep believing it. See what happens in the end. I believe with this book. I covenant with this book. Faith is covenant. Covenant is faith. So we covenant with God. We covenant with His angels, with His books and with His messengers, and that the end is to Him, the hereafter. Seals God over their hearts and over their hearing and over their sights covering, and to them punishment great. So these people who reject, God has sealed your hearts. When your hearts are sealed, then your hearings and your sights, they don't work. You have to understand when your hearts are sealed. So He seals your hearts, and over their hearings and over their sights covering. So you're sealed, your hearing is sealed, your sights are sealed. So how are they sealed? Because you take in the lies, because you do not look at the truth. The heart guides to the truth. The believing heart guides to the truth. The heart that holds on with God guides to the truth. You don't need a sight. You don't need your hearing. When you're completely submitted to God in your heart, in your chest, He guides you. You don't need to see, and you don't need to hear then. It's a concept that you have to understand when you actually are a believer and you know the truth intrinsically in your heart. So when you look at these people, what are they sealed by today? The movies, the news, their clergy that is leading them all over the place. They love them because they're telling them the gospel of prosperity. Yeah, it is prosperity, but not the prosperity that they teach you. It is not about dollars and cents and gold and silver and cars and boats and planes and trains and ships and land and animals and children and women. No, you don't understand what prosperity is in this world today in general. Yeah, of course there are people who have a sort of understanding, but generally it's that's what's sealing your hearing and your sights, and your hearts are sealed because they've become like peanuts. Yeah, the size of peas your hearts are, and then the disease comes into the heart, and now you wonder why you have to cut open your hearts and fix them up. Yeah. And from the mankind those, they say, we believe with God and with the day the later, and not they with believers. So these guys, the Torah holders, the Bible holders, so-called Bible, and the Quran holders, they all say this, and they are not with the believers. So fundamentally these are the ones that say it. Yeah, I mean, those who don't believe, they never say they believe with God. They will just reject, or they will say it in jest, which is also the hypocrisy in people. Yeah, they will just say it just to get out of a situation. Yeah, they deceive God and those who believe, and not they deceive except their souls, and not they perceive. So you can try and deceive God and us, but what you don't understand it, we see right through you. You cannot hide your deception from us because God makes it apparent to us. And we say something or we don't, doesn't matter. What you're actually doing is deceiving yourselves, your own souls, and you don't even perceive it. You think you're deceiving God and us who believe, but you're deceiving yourself. And some of you are actually deceived into believing that you believe with God and the day the later, because you say it from your mouth. And you do 5 things in your life and you're good to go. It is a constant battle till you die. There is no, I'll do it one day like their so-called Hajj, these idiots that go to Makkah. Oh, once you complete Hajj, all your sins are forgiven. Really? Can you show me where that is written in the Quran anywhere, that when you complete Hajj, it is like you are born anew, and just like baptism of the Christians? This is all garbage. Absolute bloody garbage and lies. You have to strive in your faith, and you have to keep chipping away at your wickedness, at your doubts, all these things. So we all have doubts. We are born with doubts. We doubt each other, we doubt ourselves, we doubt the books of God, until you turn completely to God and you see the absolute clarity, and then all the doubts go away and you see the reality. But you people, you don't even know that you're deceived. That's the irony. You think you believe with God and the day the later, which is the hereafter, but you don't understand that you don't, and you're deceived by it, and you don't even perceive that. In their hearts disease, but adds them God disease, and to them punishment grievous with what they are. They're falsifying. So they're falsifying with the books of God. They falsify His books, they change His books, they modify His books, they change the meanings of words. And when they do that, They have disease in their heart because they think they are something themselves, something greater than what they actually are. I never think I'm greater than what I actually am. I am who I say I am. And if you can prove I'm not that, then you can prove it with this book. That's the only way you will prove it, because I stand with this book. So if what I say is a lie, then you can find easily in this book I'm lying, and you will be able to disprove me. To prove I am a messenger of God, that's a different thing. You can also prove it from this book, by the way. And when said to them, don't you war in the earth, they say, surely what we writing? Are not surely they the warring, but not they perceive. So understand, look around you, everybody who is making peace in the earth, writing the earth today. And what do they say? We are writing. And what are they doing? They're making war in the earth. So when people like me go and tell any of them, why are you warring? Stop this war, don't war in the earth. And they'll stand up and say, no, we're making peace. They've been making peace in the Middle East for the last 100 years. I mean, it's like a joke. It's absolute joke. They don't perceive that either. You have to understand, some of these people are so deluded, so deceived, that their tyranny appears to them as absolute benevolence, and they stand there with such smug, absolute assured looks and words coming out of their mouths as if they're doing total righteousness. And when said to them, believe like what believes the mankind, they say, do we believe like what believe the fools? So when I come and tell you believe like this is how the mankind is supposed to believe, you're like, are we going to believe like the fools? No. Are not surely they're the fools, but not they know. So they have no clue. They have no idea what they're talking about. They will just destroy any truth that comes in front of them that stands in the way of their desires, in the way of fulfilling their wants, in the way of their plans, their business plans, or their hegemony plans, or their plans of godhood, or anything like that. They're absolute fools. They don't understand a thing. And what is the mankind supposed to believe like? I've already told you. We believe with God, the unseen, the angels, the unseen, the messengers, the seen and the unseen, most of them unseen, and the books that are seen. The only seen things of what we believe with are the books, and the books that we must put together are the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran. They have to be joined together. And the Bible and the Torah have been manipulated. The Torah has been hidden. The Bible has been absolutely massacred with the initiation of Jesus as a son of God or God himself, which is an absolute lie. And to see how these people are deceived, I mean, if you look at their deception, let's look at the deception of the so-called Jews. Their biggest deception is that the Messiah has not come yet today. They think the Messiah is going to come and that Jesus is not the Messiah. They're screwed. They're game over for them. The Christians, how are they deceived? God is three. God is one, but he's three. Jesus is Son of God, or Jesus is God himself, or Jesus is the embodiment of God, or Jesus is the Son of God. And the Spirit is part of God as well. So when you ask them, how does that work? Oh, you don't understand. They have been theologians working on it for a couple of thousand years, and we can explain to you, but it will never make sense. So just accept it. No, I'm not going to accept it. And the Christians should also ask themselves, how the hell does that work? If there's one God, is one God. You can't be three different persons in one entity. It doesn't work that way. It's simple logic. Think about it. No, but you can't, because you are deluded. You're deceived. You cannot perceive that you're deceived. So that's how they're done. How are these idiots, the ones who hold the Quran, how are they deceived? And they don't perceive Muhammad is the last messenger. Game over. Muhammad is the highest of the messengers. Game over again. And you got to do exactly what Muhammad said, and we've got it written outside the Quran in 30 volumes. Game finally, totally, completely over. Hell-bound they will be. There will be no excuse. There will be no forgiveness. They will go to hell because they separate Muhammad from the rest, put him on top of the others who he cannot be put on top of. He is not on top of them, he is below them. Like I am below Muhammad, he is below them, We follow each other. We are one line. We have no separation between us. So these are the three simple ways they're deceived, and they have no idea. So these guys, the fools that don't want to believe like what mankind believes, and when they meet those who believe, they say, we believe. And when they pass to their satans, they say, surely we with you, surely what we mocking. So this is their mocking. When you tell us you believe, don't think we actually accept that, just because you utter it from your mouths. You have to, there's lots of ways that first of all, we know that you're lying most of the time. Those that say this and they actually don't, and they turn to their satans, they go back to their kinsmen and their families who are all satanic and rejecting, and they will tell to them, oh no, we were just mocking. We just want to get away from them. God, He mocks with them, and He adds them in their transgression. They're wandering. So look around you, what's happening in the earth. They're wandering around, going place to place. We got to go on vacation. I got to go do this job. And half of them are just going around doing nothing, and absolute, total, immaterial and inconsequential, the two clear things that they're doing. Absolute, we got to travel, we got to go travel in the earth. Nobody's telling you not to travel, but the reason you're doing it is absolutely immaterial and inconsequential. Go look in the earth, learn from what is in the earth, instead of trying to conquer the earth, which you cannot. These people with their bloody technology think they're going to somehow control the whole earth. I look at this stuff and I'm like, yeah, go ahead, see how that works out for you. People have tried it before you, and they were far greater than you in so-called technology and wealth, and their subsistence was far greater than yours, and you think you're going to do more than they did, and their end is clear in front of you with the broken and destitute remnants of their existence, which is all over the earth. Just open your eyes and look. So God mocks with them. They mock with us. God mocks with them. We don't even have to mock. God mocks them, and He adds them in their transgression. Those they purchase the astrayness with the guidance, but not grows their trade, and not they are guided. So they are purchasing astrayness with guidance. With the guidance, how do you do that? By selling the book of God. If you look at most of the religions and their leaders, they are selling you the book. They want you to pay for it. These people have no idea how much wrath of God is over them already, and that day He's not even going to look at them. He's just going to kick them into the fire. You try selling the words of God, and you say, donate, give me money. Your end is the fire when you deliver the message of God and you ask money for it. You want to make money? Go dig holes. Go build monuments. Build your bloody computers and your stupid trains and planes and ships and cars and boats and speedboats and gunboats and aircraft carriers. Make those garbage things, and your computers and your phones. Yeah, make that and make money from it. You sell the signs of God, your end will be the hellfire. And thus you look around, you look at these people, they are purchasing the astrayness with the guidance. So those that sell it are doing the same thing, those that buy it. If you buy the signs of God by paying them for it, you're purchasing astrayness. That's all you're doing. Example of them, like example of the one who lights fire, but when lights what around him, takes away God with their light, and leaves them in darknesses, not they see, deaf, dumb, blind, but they, not they return. So these are the people, yeah? They are deafened, dumbed, blinded, dumbed down, deaf, blind. And look around you, they're all the same. Today, most of mankind is deaf, dumb, and blind. And they think this physically means, you can't see, you don't have an intellect, and you can't hear. No, it's your heart that is deaf, dumb, and blind. Fundamentally, it's your heart that has been deafened, dumbed, blinded. Because of your astrayness, your deception, your deceit, you're following your thoughts over the truth. And the end will be grievous, is the only way I can explain it. So this is just the beginning. In like 18 verses, God has basically annihilated most of mankind. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why most people do not believe with the books of God. because they tell us things that we don't want to hear. We don't want to hear these books and what they're saying, because they're telling us the truth about us. And the Torah and the Injil, the Bible, are not any different. It's just that they've been massacred in the essence of their messages, because they've been hidden or changed, the Bible specifically. And the Quran cannot be, so they surround absolute lies around them. And not that they don't. I mean, the Talmud is there by the Jews, and the Christians have so much written about the Bible around it, which is judgments of their stupid popes and fathers and clergy and scholars, absolute idiots. These people are wretched souls. So, I just wanted to start that, give you an overview of how the Quran starts, and it just massacres everyone. In the first 20 verses, 18 to 20, it just destroys all of us, except those who are true to God. So in your heart, you must be true to God, and then be aware of your own follies and the folly that mankind fundamentally is, before you can turn to God and understand and begin to understand this book. Anyway, with that, I'll sign off. Till the next time. Peace.